and then some type of strange like symbol, like
Yeah, I'm
Protoss
not sure
symbol
what
or
that
something.
is.
And
And then another Roman numeral 1 Flusterstorm.
yeah.
So very, very interesting choice of symbols for his numbers. Is that a 3? That can't be a 1.
I don't know. Can you
I guess we're
really
gonna
have
find out.
3 Umazawa GTs?
We could just count up the deck and then find out how many, count everything but the GTs. But yeah, 3 GTs seems like a lot, and that certainly doesn't look like a 1. But I guess we'll find out. Dustin Penn there on the right with Reanimator. I'm pulling for a Gristlebrand. I'm pulling for a Jin-Gitaxias. I'm pulling for a hope he doesn't deck himself drawing so many cards.
I'd like to see a turn 2 Gristlebrand.
Tundra from David. Dustin has Lotus Petal and Chrome Mox in his Reanimator list, which is
so he's really all in on going off as fast as possible.
It's slightly different than the norm. He's got 4 Dark Ritual. So yeah, this is
so
not
he's
as
like
controlling
really
as
trying to win as fast as humanly possible.
He's got 4 Animate Dead, 3 Reanimate, 4 Exhume, 4 Entomb, kind of the classic stuff. 4 Force of Will, 2 Daze, 4 Careful Study.
No Thoughtseize.
Only 2 Brainstorm. So Thoughtseize sees Swords, Vendilion Click, Wasteland, Tundra, and what was that? What was that bottom
Standstill.
card? That's what I thought it was. I wanted to say Standstill.
Interesting one. Standstill, huh?
Yeah, there
All
it
right.
is on the list. Not something we've seen in a while. So what do you take here? I think, take the Standstill. Keep him from drawing too many cards. I think he's got to worry about protecting whatever it is he reanimates. I think he has
Iona
in hand. Yeah, so if he can... Alright, so Wasteland from David on Dustin's Mana Source, Underground Sea.
Verdant Catacombs for Dustin, so he can find himself another Underground Sea. Yep, and let's see, can he go off right now? He knows that the coast is clear, at least.
And he's got a Force of Will also to back up.
Yeah,
But he needs to get something into the graveyard to reanimate, if he even has a reanimation spell. Now, him being able to somehow dump that Iona and careful study. So dump the Iona, get it into play, name White. Brainstorm from David Patwell.
It's a weird brainstorm. I don't know. Like, what are you gonna force a little careful study?
Maybe he is. I mean, possible. Does he have days? Maybe he's thinking to daze it. No, he doesn't have days. Careful study discards Iona and
Chrome Mox.
Chrome Mox. Okay. Passes it back. David checks for a miracle. Doesn't see one. I don't think he's going to
David has a main deck Flusterstorm. That's pretty cool.
He does, yeah.
Not something you say every day.
Mistress Factory, Stoneforge Mystic.
Yeah, Stoneforge, foil Stoneforge Mystic.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. Dustin will probably just let this resolve. I mean, Stoneforge Mystic is not that impressive against Reanimator's toolbox.
Yeah. I thought it had already resolved. I had realized, oh, David didn't pick up his library yet. I guess they're still, guess that's still on the stack. Is he doing some racing numbers here? I mean, I think Batter Skull's the obvious expectation to have. taking a look through the graveyard, what's available. Just an Iona. He's not going to Snapcaster or anything. I mean, I guess people did talk about using Snapcaster to kind of supplement the Reanimator strategy, but I haven't really seen it. But I think the idea was you can actually entomb a spell and then use Snapcaster to get it back. So say you need a reanimation spell, you can, and you already have, like in this case he has Iona, he could entomb Reanimate or something and then play Snapcaster Reanimate, something like that.
Seems to make sense. And David chooses to go the Umazawa's Jitte. That's a pretty interesting choice. I mean, he does have Sword of Fire and Ice in his main deck. I think I might just go for Sword of Fire and Ice because it's clear that my opponent's stumbling a bit. They may not, you know, like he doesn't know whether or not Dustin has the reanimation spell. In fact, like, it's very easy to assume that Dustin does not have the reanimation spell based on the fact that he's taking so long on his opponent's turn. Like, when you do have the reanimation spell, you're just waiting for it to be your turn.
Whatever, yeah. Give me an opportunity to reanimate.
All right, and is he just gonna brainstorm here? Does he have a reanimation spell?
I don't think there's a reanimation spell. Yeah, there's a brainstorm. He has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 reanimation spells in his deck.
Yeah, and just finds 3 lands there. Not what he wants. Gonna be able to put 2 of those back and shuffle them away, so not the end of the world. But after a brainstorm and a careful study, you know, he should have found one by now.
Yeah, he's seeing a lot of cards and just not seeing the reanimation spells.
Setting cracks this Marsh Flats.
Shuffles away those lands, presumably.
Yeah, a couple more lands.
Reanimator can really, I mean, you can go up on 1 land. It's pretty amazing. Yep. Just entomb, reanimate.
And, you know, it's interesting. He has like 4 Chrome Mox, 4 Dark Ritual, 2 Lotus Petal. All these cards that like let his deck kind of go off on turn 1 with a nut draw, but don't really do much else.
Yeah.
And, you know, you kind of have to ask yourself, is going off on turn 1 really that much different than going off on turn 2?
Right.
And, you know, if one of those, you know, if you get 4 Reanimate instead of Lotus Petals in his deck, you wonder if that's actually better.
I know, and that's how I play it. That's, you know, the list that I have played in the past does not play Chrome Mox, does not play Lotus Petal, does not even play
Brainstorm.
Dark Ritual. Yeah, and that's what I like. No, only 2 Brainstorm. I'd play 4 Brainstorm for sure.
Yes.
So,
how many Brainstorms do you play? 4 Brainstorms.
Right.
That's how many Brainstorms you play. If you're playing Blue in Legacy, you should be brainstorming. Pro tip.
Well, for one thing, he's cut lands significantly. He's got 12 lands in the deck. So, I guess if you're only going to play 12 lands, you might need the Chrome Mox, Lotus Petal, Dark Ritual kind of situation.
Yeah. It's interesting though. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out. So Vendilion Click from David Patwell. I was trying to figure out what exactly he cut to fit all these acceleration things in, and it turns out he cut lands. So
yeah, but is
and Brainstorm
better
apparently.
than land? There's 4 of it. That means you end up with a lot of charts where you have multiple Chrome Moxes. That's rough. So Vendilion Click from David. Dustin's going to force that, discarding a Careful Study, or pitching a Careful Study. Yeah, Dustin, down to just 1 card left in his hand.
Yeah, see, I think Dustin's got a very explosive version of Reanimator, but the problem is it can't explode if you don't draw the right cards. It's, I think, more powerful but less consistent.
Yes, definitely.
I go with the more blue, like, kind of consistent version with probably like 17 lands or so. Mishra's Factory in for David. I have plenty of opportunities where I get the The turn to Reanimator.
Gets to reanimate.
All right, reanimates
Reads
Iona.
Gonna name White.
Yeah, we
And
already.
we already had the Sword of Fire and Ice in his hand. That explains the.
No, why he didn't search for it. Yeah.
Didn't search for it. And now David can equip this to the Stoneforge, and next turn he's gonna be able to drop a Jit in play, equip that to the Stoneforge,
Yeah,
and then he'll be able to attack with the Stoneforge Mystic into the Iona. No problem.
That's actually pretty crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, and then if Dustin blocks, he can just use the 2 Jitte counters to finish off the Iona.
Yeah, that's pretty nuts. I mean, Squire takes down Iona. You don't expect that.
The power of the Stoneforge Mystic.
Yeah. Iona's a 6/7 now, right? Because of the animate dead, is it?
Yeah, so I guess it's not quite big enough, but the Jit counters,
Or
once
is it
he gets a factory online, will be enough.
Iona's a 7/7 naturally.
Yeah.
And
-1/-0, so it's 6/7.
yeah.
Yeah, but with that Lavamancer, yeah, he'll be able to kill it. He can equip the Jit to the Stoneforge, attack with the Stoneforge, 3 damage on Iona, then 2 from the Jitte counters, and then 2 from the Lavamancer.
Yeah, that Iona's not as threatening as you would think, as it normally would be.
Dustin reading from Daily Click.
I didn't realize Iona's a $14 card.
Wow.
So yeah, Dustin now has David's Vendilion Click trying to make things a little more interesting.
And earlier he was choked for ways to reanimate, and
Now he's looking for things to reanimate.
Yeah.
Graveyard's, missing bodies. Standstill from David.
I think David tapped his lands incorrectly for that standstill.
Yeah?
Yeah, I mean, he tapped them in a way that he could activate his Lavamancer, but I think activating the Stoneforge Mystic is just better here.
Oh, to get the DJ, yeah.
Dustin gonna get in for 3.
Vendilion Click. It's actually just for 2.
Just for 2.
It's a 2/1.
Did Dustin target himself with the V-Click, or did he target David? He targeted David, right?
Didn't quite catch who he targeted. I was looking up Iona and Animate Dead to make sure I was getting the proper power toughness.
So David choosing not to use the Grim Lavamancer on the V-Click on Dustin's end step.
Huh. Wonder why he even tapped his lands that way if he didn't want to use it,
Okay, so
Does he only have 3 cards in the graveyard? I mean, is he, you know what I mean? Like, is he needs to save that fuel? Could be that,
Maybe.
He can't cast any spells, it would have to rely on a fetch line, unless he wants to break the standstill and give Dustin
Yeah, so he only has 3, but then when he gets back the V-Click, and then all he needs is 1 more Lavamancer activation to finish up the Iona.
Oh, right on. That was his V-Click, yeah. So, that was fine.
Well, when he has the Jitte anyway, which I am assuming that Dustin took the Jitte out of his hand.
So, activates all 3 factories.
Dustin falls down to
2 here,
2 here, and then David's got an active Lavamancer on the board.
I think we're going to game 2 here. Now, games 2 and 3, or game 2 at least, first things first here. Dustin could really, we could see why he chose, made these choices as far as deck construction, Dark Ritual, Lotus Petal, Chrome Mox. We could see some sort of explosive opening from Dustin where his deck would actually perform the way he wants it to.
Yeah, Dustin's deck really, I mean, it has the opportunity to just turn one Grizzlebrand people.
Yeah, turn one Jimmy
decent
Taxi,
percentage
turn one
of the
Iona.
time, you know what I mean? The way this deck is built, he can probably have a Grizzlebrand or like an Elish Norn or an Iona, something gigantic in play on turn one.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say like around a quarter of the time. It's kind of absurd.
Yeah, he's got it set up that way. It's just kind of unfortunate he stumbled so much during that game.
Yeah.
That gave David enough of an opening to.
Yeah, that's one of the problems with playing these like really combo-y decks.
Mm-hmm. You just stumble.
Especially when you're more all in on the combo than the normal versions.
Right, and he doesn't have much interaction either. Like what's he going to do to a Lavamancer? Nothing. Best he can hope is that it blocks or it attacks so he can block it. It's the best thing he can do. I mean, Angel of Despair. That's it. Elish Norn would take care of it. But it's just like he didn't see his Entombs. He didn't see. He's kind of lucky he didn't see Dark Ritual there at the end. Maybe he did. And he was like, oh, good, now I have a Dark Ritual when I've got 3 or 4 lands in play. But looking at his sideboard, he's got some Nature's Claims for the equipment.
I don't know if he brings those in.
No?
I think the Nature's Claims are more for cards like Grafdigger's Cage and things like that.
That's fair.
Cards that are like a relic of Progenitus.
Right.
Or,
Tormod's Crypt.
Things of
Even,
that sort.
Tormod's Crypt obviously just sacrificed in response, but force people to do it at the right time. But that's the thing. Like, when is he expecting?
He
to
does
bring
have the
those
show
in?
and tell sideboard, which is pretty sweet.
Yeah.
People sideboard in Graveyard Hate against a Reanimator decks, and then you just show and tell in the Gigantic Monster.
Yeah, I imagine
he would them that way.
He would bring in the show and tells. I still imagine he could bring in the Nature's Claim because not only are there several targets for it that we saw already from game 1, but as you mentioned, a couple sideboard cards that he may expect from his opponents.
Yeah, and David has 3 Tormod's Crypts.
Right. So here's if I'm Dustin, I'm like, all right, I saw targets for the Nature's Claims already. He may bring in more targets that are going to hose me. May as well bring them in. Now, if he played against a deck like Goblins, it's not. I guess it's got Aether Vial, but if you play against a deck that doesn't really have any artifacts in the main, you may go, well, I don't know if I need the Nature's Claims yet, depending on what he brings in. I don't know. I don't want to bring in dead cards. He may have nothing. But then game 2, maybe you see the hosers. Then you're like, okay, game 3, I'll bring in Nature's Claim. Dustin already has seen targets for it, so whether or not David has the Grafdigger's Cages, for example, or the Tormod's Crypts, Dustin still will likely have targets. I don't think David's going, well, side out Stoneforge Mystic equipment package, because that's kind of the deck.
Hey, I side out Stoneforge Mystic equipment package so often when I play Legacy. But the difference is I play 1 Batterskull as my equipment.
Yeah,
and normally what I'm doing is I brainstorm away my Batterskull so I can search for it again with Stoneforge Mystic.
Yeah, but
degenerate card advantage.
And
searcher.
I love that. Yeah, and I understand that logic. But
I don't want to win. I just want to have more cards than them because that means I'm going to.
Exactly. That's winning anyway. But no, that's what I mean. For this particular deck, it's got 4 main deck equipment, at least 4, if we can assume that Umezawa's Jite is not a 3.
Well, we can count.
But I think there's 61. No, it's table number. Okay, because I saw 61, 60. Okay, never mind.
That's 15, 18. Um, 40, 45.
All right, Dustin, turn 1. Let's see if he can explode onto the table. He's got an Underground Sea. He's got Careful Study.
It's just 1. That's a 1.
Okay, that is it.
It's an odd 1.
I'd love to understand that, but okay, it's a 1.
So discarding Elish Norn.
He did. He's got a Show and Tell in hand. That's interesting. He decided to discard the Elish Norn. And the Show and Tell. Interesting choices. I didn't quite see the rest of his hand, but we did see. Oh, he's got another Show and Tell. He's got a Forcible and he's got a Chrome Mox.
But then he doesn't have a Reanimation spell.
Yeah, that's kind of odd. I feel like he could have
Show
could
and tell
have show and tell
Elishnorn?
on turn 2 Elishnorn. Right,
Yeah, he
right
could've-
here. He didn't have to careful study. He could have just went Chrome Mox, remove careful study, tap 3 show and tell Elishnorn. Like that would have been a plan.
That would have been a pretty good plan.
I think so. And what would he have gotten? Not a Jace into play. What is that under Jace? I don't know, but there's
What is that?
I don't know what that is. I don't know if it's been
Oh,
altered or what.
Flusterstorm maybe?
I don't think that's Flusterstorm. It doesn't look like Flusterstorm. Anyway, we got
Spellstutter Sprite? The F&M promo Spellstutter?
doesn't look like that to me either, but I can only see a little bit of it. But
Yeah,
yeah, maybe
yeah,
that
it
is
is.
what
Yeah,
it
it
is.
is.
Okay.
Okay.
Had a glare on it because it was foil. So he takes the Jace with a Thought Seize. So the best that David could have gotten into play there was not anything that would have scared an Elishnorn or rivaled
Well, I
an
mean, he would have
Elishnorn.
had Swords to Plowshares to deal with the Elishnorn.
So that's
I
true.
mean,
So
but
maybe it was
Dustin
fine.
could have just gone turn 1 Thoughtseize, take your swords, turn 2 Elishnorn.
Yeah, that would have worked too. I don't know if he had the Thought Seize on turn 1 though. I think he drew it on turn 2.
Show and tell? Up?
He can't put Planeswalkers into play.
It cannot put
That's,
Planeswalkers into play, right? That's what I
That's
was,
correct, yeah.
Okay,
I
well,
know
it's
that's
not
something
permanent.
that you expect, but it's like artifact, creature, instant, land or something. I'm not instant, artifact, creature, enchantment, or land. You can put an instant into play. What does it do? Nothing.
Yeah, I mean, at the Tolarian Academy, show and tell often becomes run and hide. Is that at the? Oh, it's
At
just
the
at the
Academy?
Academy. There's no Tolarian there, but it's in the same set as Tolarian Academy, so.
Yeah. And that's the Academy they're referencing. So a standstill from David looks to have resolved.
Yeah, these standstills working pretty well for David here. David can just, keep attacking his opponent with a Mishra's Factory.
Yeah, that's pretty much how standstill works. So Dustin's gonna have to break it.
This is what you want to do when you have a standstill in play. You just want to have manlands, and you just want to be applying pressure.
If I'm Dustin, I want to wait until make sure David's hand is full, and before the end of his turn, cast an instant, break the standstill, make him discard the card advantage. Because he has to break the standstill. Gonna have to give him the cards. He has absolutely no other way to win this game. So I don't know how many cards are in David's hand, or if Dustin has an instant available, but an instant that's not a counter spell. You can see a Force of Will there. Passes back. Can't even play a Chrome Mox without breaking the standstill.
Yeah, and I mean, David's just going to keep getting in for 2. And the moment that Dustin casts a spell, David's just going to need to draw 3 cards. And
all right, so he goes Entomb. Is this at the end of David's turn, I hope?
Round 2 is starting.
yeah, and a Spellstutter Sprite.
So Spell Stutter counters the Entomb, or at least attempts to. Now Dustin has the option to force that.
Yeah, so I mean, this game looks really good for David.
Yeah. Dustin plays Chrome Mox, removing Angel of Despair.
Mm-hmm.
So he's got a mana source, a second mana source. That's
You should also be careful just playing the Chrome Mox with the Angel underneath it like that. Like it's a triggered ability. You have to play the Chrome Mox and then.
oh, and then remove it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Animate Dead.
And
On
David,
the
still no Force of Will. Lots of turns and a
Yellow's
cracked
going.
standstill.
Yeah. So Dustin gets Chrome Mox into play. Is able to Animate Dead his Elishnorn, and David just says, "Oh, Jace, bounce your Elishnorn."
Yeah, 2
So-
counters on Jace the Mind Sculptor here. Jace the Mind Sculptor. One of my favorite Magic cards of all time.
Yeah. Same here. Same here.
You might be able to tell that from my my Twitter handle.
JVLTMS. I always thought that meant
It actually might just be the best. Yes, the best Magic card. Chase the Mind Sculptor.
I mean, I'm on board with that. So David goes standstill, attack you with Mishra's Factory. It's probably
having
Fate
a standstill
Seal.
in play when you have a Jace is pretty good.
Yeah, Fate Seal you, and it's a Lotus Petal. Keep the Lotus. Just give him the Lotus Petal. What's he gonna do? Cast a spell? Okay. Puts it on the bottom. I just let him keep it. That is not threatening. I mean, I guess he could have resolved a show and tell and put an Elishnorn into play for you to bounce with your Jace again and let you draw 3 cards off standstill. I mean,
and you have a Swords to Plowshares in your hand.
Right. I don't really feel like I would have feared the Lotus Petal. In fact, I mean, obviously, it doesn't even matter. He played a land. What's he going to do with 4 mana if he even had that Lotus Petal? All right, Mishra's Factory. In. Fate Seal. All right, let's see the Fate Seal this time.
I might just brainstorm.
Did he not?
I mean,
He
didn't
maybe
use his Jace, I don't think.
Huh? Either didn't use it or brainstormed and we didn't see. Interesting. Okay.
Did he brainstorm? We missed it. Maybe that's what happened.
Careful study.
Careful study.
Breaks the.
Careful study. Already card disadvantage. Significantly worse when your opponent gets to draw 3 cards.
And he has a Spell Stutter Sprite yet again. And Dustin's like, man, I can't resolve a 1 casting cost spell for save my life. Oh gosh.
It's like,
yeah. So it's like I do all that work to break the standstill. You draw 3 cards, and my spell didn't even resolve twice. Gave him another threat.
That's how the standstill decks work.
Yeah. I'm just.
Alright, brainstorming.
Okay. That's interesting. I mean, well, now it's fine, I guess. I don't know about last turn. I would have just went on the Fate Seal plan.
I think I might have just been brainstorming since the beginning. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, he needed to bounce the
weird.
Elishnorn, I understand.
Well,
or
yeah,
he could have
obviously.
swords it. He could have swords the
well,
Elishnorn.
bouncing the Elishnorn is, like, especially because he had the standstill for the next turn. Like, bouncing the Elishnorn definitely correct, but beyond that, like when he Fate Sealed, you don't really even need to. You just look for Force of Wills.
That's fair, I guess. Yeah.
And now 2-turn clock. Dustin needs to do something on his next turn that's going to drastically change this game. Or
Sword of Fire and Ice from David. Spell Stutter Strike picks that up, so there's 5 damage. I'll also draw a card, and I'll play Tormod's Crypt. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, plus 2 from the shock off the sword.
Dustin's
Draw
at 2 now. No, with Dustin at 2, it's going to be really hard for him to win because there's
there's 2 Mistress Factories and
Yeah,
a big
2
Spell Stutter Sprite, and that's
Mistress
it.
Factories, a giant Spell Stutter Sprite, and a Jace on the table.
Yeah, so Dustin Penn's Reanimator list just sputters out. It just didn't do anything.
Yeah, it really.
I feel
did
bad
not
for
put
him.
much
Like
of a fight.
I don't know if
Yeah.
it's the build. I don't know if it was just bad luck.
I think
but-
a lot of it was